What's up, everyone? Fourth and one.
Love that.
Our sports podcast.
The New York Football Giants. Love that.
What's up, everybody? This is episode number 9 of Fourth and One, a sports podcast. Fourth and One is presented to you by Why Am I a Nerd Podcast Network, where everyone is a nerd about something. My name is Sean Farrell, and sitting opposite of me via the Zoom is the golden voice of podcasting, Matthew Ferreira. The man behind the statistics, as always, is Anthony Italian. And with us today, the official first guest of the podcast, friend of the show, and newest member of the Fourth and One Fantasy League, Dave. Dave is the creator of the Future Rise and Fall Pod, an avid Washington football team super fan. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Glad to
welcome,
have Dave.
Yeah,
welcome, man.
It's still kind of surreal with the football team super fan, but
I think we've name dropped you on the podcast every single episode. So this is
you come up quite often.
I know Matt and I talked about it for a little bit, and I've just been really excited to talk football, man. I've been stuck in quarantine, so any football is great.
Facts.
What have you guys been up to?
Dude, I'm sorry. After you.
Go first.
No, I was after you. For me, it's just been a lot of like trying to take in as much summer as possible. I'm now like co-owning a dog, kind of. My friend.
Wait, hold on. Paul, you were dog sitting last weekend.
Right. And that was like the test right now. I kind of co-own the dog because my friend is a single mother, has an 8-month-old son. She's like, I can't give the dog full attention. I'm like, well, I'm home all the time now, aside from right now. So now I'm kind of like taking the dog a couple days a week and, playing with her and stuff. And it's kind of fun. It definitely helps.
You guys have a custody agreement at this point, or?
Nothing in writing.
Owner, but you're like a stepdad dog.
I'm like a step. That's exactly what I am. Yeah, I'm the stepdad.
Hey, Matt, before we get into some news, where can everyone find us?
You can find us, as always, on Instagram at Why Am I a Nerd Official, on Facebook and YouTube at Why Am I a Nerd. Again, that's WHYMI a Nerd. We're also on Twitter at Fourth and One Pod. You can find us on YouTube, but we have a bunch of random letters because we don't have enough subscribers yet. So please like and subscribe. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. 5 stars would be greatly appreciated.
I agree. All right, so Fantasy League update. We have our newest member, obviously, Dave.
Yep.
We're still waiting for Miami Cameron James to join. He's holding out for I don't know what, but
what's Dave's team name?
Fuck you guys.
I think I'm the Washington Red Bulls right now.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's giving a little bit of a insight on my end away, but yeah.
And if Cameron joins, then we have 2 spots left. How do you want to handle these spots?
I have one guy I'm trying to push to get in. As for that last spot, I don't know. I kind of do we have a follower who would like to join? Maybe I don't know, like something here.
I think we should. I think after this episode, I know I have a lot of friends that are Washington fans who might tune in to hear this. So maybe we can pull someone from a Facebook friend, anyone that's just going to be competitive at this point.
Pretty much, I'm with it.
It's going to be. I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty good league, and we're going to have to form some group text or something where we can kind of go over all the rules because it's
constantly talk shit.
Yeah, this league. Yeah, that too. This league's a little different than ones I've put together before. So, no kicker, multiple flex spots. So it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. It's like my 4th fantasy league I'm in, so I'm trying to manage. But multiple fantasy league is good as long as we have fantasy football. I don't care.
Yeah, same, dude. Like I'm so scared of the concept of like potentially not having football after looking at what's kind of going on with baseball right now. Because fuck the Phillies anyway, but that does suck that their whole team got sick because of the Marlins. It's a little scary, obviously, because like we have Florida teams in the league. I'm like, what if one of them fucks up too? So I'm a little nervous about it.
I listened to a podcast today, and they're saying basically have a plan of how you're going to split up the money if the season gets ended early. Just come up with something that you're going to do and make sure everyone knows what that plan is before you go into the league.
Yeah.
Just, have something. So we'll have to have something in writing that one thing they suggested is like after the 7th week, if the season was to end, you split the money between like the playoff teams, or you have some sort of agreement. But we could talk about that another time. Joe Kelly's suspension, thrown at the
Bullshit.
Astros. What do you think?
Bullshit that he's suspended for
I'm
that.
only clapping because I like what he did. I
Yeah,
don't like
same.
the suspension, but I'm clapping because that was awesome.
Say it's such like you got to be fucking kidding me. How is it that you look at this team that cheated their way to a title, and then the one guy who kind of stands up for it, he didn't even really hit anyone. Like he was just kind of being a douche, you know. But like whatever, like he deserved it. That's what everyone wanted to see, and he gets suspended. You got to be kidding me. What a joke.
I mean, they're trying to set the precedent. Obviously, they don't want people doing this, but come on, like.
Yeah, like if he hit him, I could kind of see it.
The players haven't gotten
like,
punished. The Astro players,
exactly,
they're
not at
granted
all.
immunity. So, like, what do they expect? There's no fans to boo. Players are still pissed about it. Dave, who's your baseball team?
You know, I mean, actually, I was kind of an Orioles fan when I went to school at Towson, but I didn't follow baseball as much. But to your point, I mean, the Astros kind of poo-pooing that whole thing and then kind of putting the hammer down here just doesn't really make sense to me. It's so inconsistent. And I feel like anything I hear about baseball is always kind of like inconsistent results, which, you know, it is what it is, but it's just kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah. And Matt, you mentioned the positive test with the Marlins and now the Phillies. I believe the Brewers game was canceled today too.
Was it? I didn't see that.
Yeah, on the drive over, they said, if teams don't take better care of their players or they don't come up with stricter rules for them, and this keeps happening, they'll shut down the season. I mean, I could see it happening, and no one wants to lose the money, but it's a reality at this point. Like, how are they going to finish the season, let alone get into a playoff and to crown a champion? What do you think about that?
I know which one of us you were asking.
Oh,
Sorry.
Whoever wants to go. Whoever wants to go.
Probably the co-host, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, I'm just throwing out. We got to guess. You know, sometimes guess first.
Do you think they'll shut down the season if this keeps happening?
I hope not, but I could see it. I mean, I think it's a possibility for every single league right now. Like, you know what I mean? We've got NBA players even going after strippers right now. So I think every league's in a little
Shout out to Lou Will.
I think every league's in a little bit of jeopardy as it is. So it's obviously a very fine line they're towing. I really hope it doesn't get canceled, but I think if another team has a serious outbreak, then we're looking at them probably shutting down the season or at least delaying it further. So we'll see. They need to kind of put a bubble in place.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Like, you can try to put in all the protocols. If someone gets it and spreads it to the team and they miss games, you know, how are they going? They can't keep prolonging the season. So I know that they did say that it doesn't matter if they play the 60 games, as long as they play within like the 40 to 50 range and they have like they can go by winning percentage. But, you know, then you make the argument, how is that equal to the teams that do have to play those games, that have to put that, kind of weight and strain on their players, you know, physical well-being. I don't know. It's a tough thing to make a call on.
Yeah.
The NBA is back. Did you get to watch your Magic's victory today?
I did not. I was working. Unfortunately, I had a call during that time, but I'm so happy we beat the Nets, even though the Nets were playing scrubs. Like they had third string. I probably could have suited up for the Nets today. But I am pretty excited that we won. It's always good to see the Magic win because I never know how long it's going to last for. So I'll take it pretty much as long as I can get it.
Yeah. It's nice to have it back. It feels the same with the announcers, like, you know, getting back the whole routine, being on, you know, TNT and ESPN, but it still feels like summer league basketball to me.
Yeah.
You know, it just has that weird feel. Even the visual of the court is just different.
It's so different. Like watching the Lakers and the Clippers last night. It's like, this just doesn't, I don't know. It seems like a simulation almost. Like it's the world's best 2K game, you know, like it just didn't seem like real life.
Yeah. Dave, who's your NBA team? We're gonna go through all your teams.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what's funny? It's just weird. Like I feel like I just bring bad luck to the organizations that I choose, but I'm actually a Knicks fan.
All right, hey, I'm right there with you.
You know, it's a little tough. I chose probably the two worst owners in two different sports.
I think we're gonna get into your opinion on Dan Snyder. Little interview, but yeah, James Dolan is not any better.
No,
maybe worse.
I don't even know which one is worse at this point. I mean, it's just incompetency in general. I just cannot stand either of them at this point.
Oh man, that brings us to this day in sports history. And since our guest is a Washington football team fan, happy birthday to former legend Gus Frerotte and Brian Arakpo, linebacker for the formerly known as the Redskins.
Yep. Love Brian Arakpo. I remember drafting him. I had his jersey authentic. He was the first one I bought. When I kind of started to get authentics when I had the money for it,
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone over my jersey thing. I only buy like legends or players that are retired because the amount of there you go. The amount of players I've bought and jerseys I have, guys that aren't even in the league anymore or on those teams are just my closet's filling up.
I hear you.
All right, so let's get into how do you guys know each other? Because this is my first time meeting you, but I need to know the backstory here.
So this is about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, half a decade ago.
Oh my God!
Wow.
We worked for a little known company called Single Throw. And pretty much Dave walked in, had his interview. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I think we walked past each other in the hallway. He got hired like a week or two later. And I remember what the first conversation we had was, but we hit it off like immediately.
Honestly,
yeah.
I think it was fantasy football. I swear. I think,
That would make sense.
So they brought me in for a similar role that Matt was kind of in, like kind of the starting, role kind of to advance. And Matt kind of already advanced. So we kind of started talking from there. And I just remember we got into fantasy football. And then that was kind of all she wrote. We realized that
pretty much
we liked all the same, pop culture, all the TV shows, everything that like I liked, he liked. And it was just a weird dynamic,
We would go to lunch and buy crab for absolutely no reason and eat that. And we were like, where'd you get that? We're like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We have like a pound of crab. Like, we're going to eat this right here.
And then after that, we realized at the same time, we were both trying to get into our own place. And so I think from there, we realized, you know what, let's just get a house. Let's just buy our own place or get our own place. And so we moved in for 3 years in Long Branch. And
was it 3 or 4?
I think
it was a long time.
1 year 1 year in the small house, 2 in the bigger house. Yeah.
Big house, yeah, dude. But good times. Yeah.
So I'm sure football Sundays at your place was good to watch on that.
We actually had multiple setups. So Dave actually shares one of my biggest fandoms as a Michigan fan. He will personally shout "Buck Ohio" with me.
Yep.
This guy with this. We couldn't quite see it, and that's okay. He's a Notre Dame fan down there, but. No, we'd always have the setup, especially if the Giants and the Washington football team, were playing each other. We had both of our blankets set up on both of our individual couches. We actually had like battle swords that we also had set up out there. Like we were ready to go.
We had like one side, Washington football team, one side Giants. I'm going to screw that up at least twice today.
Oh, yeah, same.
But it was great. I mean, we had like 2 TVs. I had the, I think I was like in the range by like a mile for the direct TV. So I was able to get, for that first year, I had all the games so we could watch all the games at the same time. And it was mayhem on Sundays.
Oh my God.
Do you have that now so you can watch?
No, the area I moved to, it's gone. So it's like, I have to go to a bar or, listen to, it was Larry Michael, who was awful, but now it's a new broadcasting team. So I'm excited for that. And I just do Red Zone if I have to and try to, go to the bar if I have to in the area.
Yeah. So how'd you become a Washington fan?
It's such a weird. I get asked that question all the time, especially being from Jersey. I'm one of the weird Skins fans in Jersey, and I'm probably like one of the only ones. There's a couple of them I know, but probably from the players. Like I was a big Miami University fan growing up, so for me, that 01 Hurricanes team, Sean Taylor, Clinton Portis Moss, who was on that team, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore during that
Dorsey,
era, Ken Dorsey. And so all those players coming out, I think it was like culmination when Clinton Portis got traded and then they drafted Sean. And then I think the icing on the cake for me being in Jersey was Santana Moss getting traded for Lavernius Coles. It's kind of when I was a fan, but then that's when I went like ride or die. And then they made me immediately regret that for 16 years. So
I don't know if you see our resident Cowboys fan here, as unfortunately we have, but we're almost complete in the NFC East today, which is nice. We'll have to have a round table. We've talked about it before. Just get the NFC East guys in here.
Yeah, but I don't know who we can find. Like, is there a tolerable Eagles fan? Like, do they exist?
Probably not, but we could find someone, I'm sure. Maybe
Who was
substitute.
your if you had to rank the NFC East as far as teams hated, what would it be?
For me, it was always I hated Philly teams. I mean, I'm right there with Matt. I really just don't like Philly teams in general. I hate the Phillies. I hate the Eagles. Philly in general, I just hate. Cowboys was that like universal team that everyone loved, America's team, and I couldn't stand them either. So I think it would be really like Eagles, Cowboys, Giants for me. I think living with Matt and knowing a lot of Giants fans has made it a little less, a little more tolerable.
Same for me with watching. There is one thing I'd like to point out, though. You just brought up a very interesting point. Dallas is always called America's team, but it doesn't make any sense. They have the least ties to anything patriotic. Like Washington D.C. is literally the capital of the country. Philadelphia was the birthplace of liberty for all intents and purposes. New York was a former capital, and we're the only team that's red, white, and blue. So how the hell does Dallas come to represent the entire country?
Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
I'm a little worried about it, I want to know.
I'm concerned.
Especially when you're running back went to such a trash university.
I mean, I can't. I'm definitely not going to ever argue with that with you. But
it's weird because I kind of have to now. I feel like the Washington football team's coming either Crimson Tide or Buckeyes now. It's like we have so many Ohio State guys on our team.
Fuck Ohio State.
It's a little weird to root for them all, but I'm excited.
I don't know if you listened to the episode, but Matt actually challenged Dwayne Haskins to a fight.
I did. I have a running fight. I'm waiting for him to accept the challenge. I'll beat his ass anywhere. I'm so mad at him for that bullshit game where he had no business coming back again. God.
I can hear him upstairs. Matt's in the basement.
I will fight Dwayne Haskins anywhere, anytime.
I don't know, man. Dwayne got himself in shape this offseason, man.
What's in shape? What's he down from? What's that, from 275 to 260? I'll take him right now.
He's no Dan
I'll take
Jones,
him right now.
Sure.
He's no Daniel Dimes.
You're bigger than he is, Matt.
Fumble dimes.
Yeah, I'll take him down.
What'd you? I mean, this isn't on our little list here, but what did you think about them drafting Dwayne Haskins? Were you excited about it, or
I think I was one of those fans that was like, very level-headed. I didn't think, oh, this is the guy. I'm really pumped for this, but I was also not like, no, this is not going to work. I thought he was a great prospect. I thought Daniel Jones was a great prospect. Honestly, I thought both of them needed a little work. Yeah. But I think seeing what I saw from him at the end of the year got me much more excited for Dwayne. I know people want to say he had a bad season, but he really didn't. I mean,
he got thrown in against the Giants. Was that first game, right?
Yeah,
I believe
actually it was.
Game. And they ran the ball about 80% as the game plan was, with everything going on. So I think when they started opening up that playbook week 13 to 17 or 13 to 16, I think it was, Dwayne actually led the league in passer rating, which was really cool to see.
Did he really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Who
was your other leading receiver behind McLaurin?
I think it ended up being Steve Sims. I could be wrong, but Steve Sims. Hey, man, remember the name. Remember the name for the future, Steve Sims.
I only know one Sims. I only acknowledge one Sims, and his first name is Philip.
Stop living in the past, Matt, all right?
All Giants fans do. All Giants fans do.
Every day. Every day.
I never bring up anything.
Hey, don't act like, Matt, that every time we had a discussion about the Giants, it was, well, the rings, the beat the Patriots, blah, 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 like 10 years ago. I'm like, okay.
He's counting.
Yeah.
Four. But if you got the other championships, we're 8 total. Third most in the history of the league. That's all I'm saying. But it's another reason I do say fuck the Eagles, because beating the Patriots was our thing. How dare they?
It was.
Disrespect.
It really was. It is nice to see the East, though, just, kind of own the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah.
Like, we're that division. We did it with the Bills. It seems like when it's East versus East. That's
actually really funny, too, because the NFC East ran a complete train on Buffalo for 4 years straight in the 90s. Like, it was just disrespectful.
Yeah, Buffalo never reported that crime,
Yeah. No. I actually feel pretty bad for Jim Kelly, because I'm like, for as good as that guy is, like, dude, just all of our teams were like, oh, who's taking this time? Like, Dave, you in? Like, Ed, you in? No, it's my turn. All right. Wide left, right.
And it was year after year after year.
It was 4 years straight.
So amazing.
It was just And each time they lost worse than the time before.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
brutal.
What do you think about the new team name? We keep saying Washington Football Team. That's what the official thing is. But where are you? Do you have a favorite? Do you think it's going to be out of the box? What are your thoughts?
I have a favorite. I think first and foremost, I think it was a right decision to not jump into a name. I think people want to make fun of it. I saw LeBron, Cowboys fan. I know, and he's making fun of them doing it, and I get it. They're going to jest at us, and there's reason. We're going to get embarrassed. We can't be prideful right now. So I understand
they want to get this right, though.
Right,
they want
exactly.
to make the right decision.
That makes sense.
And I think the best thing is that now they're coming out and saying they want input of the fans. They want input from the players, the alumni, current players, the media. And there has been a trend that I've been a part of that I'm going to take this off for a second. And I'm not going to strip, I promise. But I'm going with...
Did you get a tattoo?
No.
Oh,
The Washington Red Bulls is my team, baby.
Wow, there we
See the
go.
Bulls den. Make
I
it
love-
something cool. Don't go with something stupid like the Warriors. We don't need that crap. We don't want to be the other Warriors team. Yeah, forget that. Let's go with something cool, something ferocious, something that we can kind of keep the HTTR. I'd be perfectly fine with.
You know what's funny is there's a previous episode we did where I think it was the drunk episode, the famous Ohio State, fuck them. I was saying that there's so many scarier mascots than a fucking Buckeye because it's a goddamn nut. And one of them was Red Wolves. I was like, that's like a wolf covered in blood. That's fucking terrifying. I want nothing to do with that. I saw Game of Thrones. I know how this ends.
Well, the funny thing about Red Wolves is someone came up with the name, and I want to say I was part of the beginning of pushing it on Twitter. I was, but there were bigger names that were involved that were really been kind of driving this now. And now if you do look at any of the polls that they're trying to take from this, it's like 80% is for this name now, which is kind of cool. But then we looked up what a red wolf was, and it's crazy to find out that it was an endangered wolf that's native to just America. So it has Native American ties,
Really?
but it's also native to America. It's endangered. And during the whole process, when we've been kind of, networking on Twitter, trying to push the name, myself and a couple others got in contact with some wolf conservatories that are trying to save the species, that you can go on these cams and see the remaining 20 red wolves that they have or something along those lines. And it was really cool because we're going to try, if the name gets changed, and I think even if not, I would love to see a large contingent of the fans. I know I'm going to be involved to try to help save the endangered species, but it would be really cool if it had that kind of, connection to the name, and then we can actually do something for the actual,
That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
That would be awesome. No,
Sweet.
I like the name. When I heard that name, is there a backstory to it with Washington fans, or was it something that someone threw out there?
So I think it's something that someone threw out there. I think what we heard was they wanted ties to the military and Native American culture. But obviously we had to stay away from everything that was, going to be cultural, tied to really specifically to cultures, right? We couldn't do anything Native American to their culture. And even military, it can get very niche there. For example, Red Tails was one that's very, very focused on a particular military group.
Yeah.
Going back to the Red Bulls, I think it was kind of more of people wanted to keep the HTTR, and I think that was part of it. And then Red Wolves kind of just had a lot of ties to that. It has Native American ties because of the wolf and the spirit. It has military ties because there is some military unit, I believe, that's involved with that, or some kind of aircraft or something. And then it just is. I think it's a cool name. So it's a theme of an animal that you see: the bears, the eagles. There's a lot of those, and there's just no wolves in football, or in NFL football. So
Right.
that would be a good one. I think that's kind of how it started, and now it's just kind of taking a.
What's your gut feeling? Do you think they picked that, or?
I think there's a much better chance today than there was maybe 3 weeks ago. I think I would give it an 87 to 94% chance that it's going to be the name.
Is that one of the names that guy trademarked? Do you know?
It's one that he tried to trademark. I know it's one that's involved. He's tweeted out a lot of stuff about it. I believe his name is Martin McCauley, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of inside knowledge, but basically if they wanted to go for that name, it sounded like there was some kind of legal case with Arkansas State because that's their name, Red Wolves. Yeah. And I think the Chattanooga Red Wolves, or I think it might have been a soccer team or something. There was some kind of dispute legally going through that right now. And so he believes that could be potentially what that legal situation was that pushed the name back. So he doesn't know for sure. I don't think anyone does. And I don't know how he's, for all we know, the organization hired that guy to buy the names now and give it to them later. You know,
I mean, at the end of the day, this is the NFL. Like, if Dan Snyder, who's our next topic, wants it, he'll go out and get it. I mean, he's not gonna, look in his wallet to see how much money he has to buy the name. He's gonna go and grab it.
How much do I have left? Yeah. He's just going for it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's so necessary right now. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm hopeful. I think the fact that they're getting the fans involved and to kind of have us involved in the decision kind of makes it a smart decision for the younger generation that hasn't been part of that winning culture here. So I think it could be a really cool idea if it works out. So
yeah, Dan Snyder. I mean, he's one of the worst owners. The guy spends money, that's for sure. He's not worried about that, but he seems to spend it in all the wrong places.
Albert Hainsworth. It's the first thing I think of all the time.
I stayed up that night for that contract. I was super pumped, and it really fell flat. I think Dan Snyder's biggest weakness is who he's put around him throughout his time as ownership. He's incompetent from a leader standpoint. He doesn't really exude leadership the way that maybe some other people would naturally. So in order for him to be successful, he has to have someone in place that can do that. And right now, he didn't have that for the first 20 years. You had Vinny Serrato, who was a complete moron, and that's the Albert Hainsworth contract right there can tell you exactly what you need to know about him. And then Bruce Allen, who Kirk Cousins, Scott McCloughan, you can go down the list of how embarrassing this guy has made this organization. And it's just, those are the people that Dan put his faith in. Not to mention, he's so, from what it sounds like, out of the loop on what even goes on in his organization, that the fact that he has a lack of leadership is the biggest problem with him. And I think they might have gotten it right now with Ron kind of steering the helm. But I don't want a head coach to be the leader of the entire org. I want, the right infrastructure overall.
Yeah, and I, as a Knicks fan, James Dolan always got his hands in all those big moves. He'd always come and put, those big crazy contracts down. Dan Snyder feels like the same kind of guy that he's always involved in those superstar contract talks, and he's always willing to put the money out. But, I think most of the organizations that run well, they put those people and leaders in places and let them do their jobs.
Honestly, it's exactly that. And, you look at this team, it's been so dysfunctional. I understand the fans that want to hold on to the history of the team, but the reality is this team is not that team anymore. And I just don't know if it's going to get back there with Dan Snyder at the helm. So I think a rebrand, even though as tough as it is to say, because I love my team so much, I think a rebrand is pretty exciting for just a fresh, breath of air, and I'm just excited to see what the heck happens.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I actually totally agree with that sentiment. I think when your team kind of hits this like pivotal crutch, and I'm not saying your team specifically, but anyone's team, because I'd honestly love it if the Giants did something new with like new uniforms to kind of signify entering a new era. It was just a slight upgrade, like adding a little bit of red to the shoulders or something. Mm-hmm. I think something like that with the rebranding is so crucial to really helping the team and the fans overall, except that something new is coming. And it makes you a little bit more open to everything overall. Like, look at Tampa signs Tom Brady. They get Gronk. Now they got LaShawn McCoy, which, like, what the fuck? That's something we'll bring up later. But, they come out with the updated uniforms, and, it kind of helps. It's easier to buy in. You're like, I wanted to be the start of something from the beginning. So I think that's really important to do. And I wish more teams would actually embrace that as opposed to, staying the course.
Do you think what are some offseason moves they made you think are going to benefit them this year?
I mean, you have to go with Chase Young, number one, right? I mean, I think just bringing – actually, you know what? I take that back. I think Ron Rivera, number one. It should be the biggest move on the team. I think you already see the culture changing a little bit in-house, and I know it's kind of weird with the what just happened with the scandal, but I think since then the response from him, you could just tell that, like, it's not going to happen under his watch. And I think they put some good people in position. And from his team standpoint, draft pick, obviously Chase Young, I'm super excited about.
Ohio State.
I know, but you know what? That transcends anything. It's getting Chase Young. It was what I was hoping for when this team was just very clearly not going to do anything this year. And then honestly, I think, I'm a little excited about having Thomas Davis on this defensive side of the ball. I don't think it's a flashy pick, but he was
He's a Ron Rivera guy.
Ron Rivera guy, productive last year still, even in his older age, and he's definitely a leader and a veteran that can help with that defense.
How old is he? Thomas Davis.
And the stat man. Let's get on that. While we're,
I don't
Thomas
want
Davis.
chatting here.
How old are man Tommy Daves?
Tommy Davis.
Tommy Daves. How old?
He's not he wasn't a Gettleman draft pick though, was he?
He might have been, which is something else that pissed me off about Gettleman. He's like, "Oh, did I draft you before? Come over and just be a New York Football Giant for a little." Jonathan Stewart, we just got the best running back in history, but fuck it, come on, be a bowling ball. Like
Thomas Davis Sr. is 37.
Damn.
Wow.
Really?
So, I mean, I thought I knew he was up there. I didn't even realize he was that up there.
Which is funny because, like, compared to us, that's not, or me at least, that's not that huge of a jump. But
He's 6 years older than me.
Yeah, so well now, oh god, he's only 4 years older than me. Fuck my life. But still, like,
we're treating him like he's a senior citizen.
yeah, we're the great. Oh my god, a marvel of medicine. Tommy Daves takes the field at 37.
It's amazing what football years is. You know, running backs,
Seriously.
like if you're 27, oh my God, he's old as heck. You know, you're like, what the hell's this guy doing out in the field?
Well, which actually brings me back to my point. I'm sorry, this is a total segue. I apologize for going off script here.
You're good.
Is LaShawn McCoy effective this year? I think he's going to be catching a lot of passes out of the backfield, but I can't see him as a hard-nosed, I'm still going to make you miss runner.
He'll take the same role as he did in Kansas City. I mean, you had him and Damian Williams there, and you have him and Ron John.
Damian Williams was putting in work, though. I don't know if,
he was.
And Damian Williams is opting out this year too.
True. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire fantasy alert. But yeah, no, I think LaShawn could be okay, but I think he's more of a like kind of just the name, the body for camp. I don't know if he's going to be the stud that we think, but he'll rip off a couple of good plays. He always does.
Well, you lost Chris Thompson, so I essentially see him filling that role. I mean, that would be the spot for him at his age, you know.
Right.
So Chris Thompson, he was a good fantasy player for me once in a while, but he's with
Jacksonville? I think it was Jacksonville, yeah.
With Jay Gruden.
Yeah, follow Jay Gruden down there. So we'll see.
Hey,
We'll see what happens.
Hold on, did I miss that? Jay Gruden's, he's not the head coach. What is he, the
Offensive coordinator.
offense coordinator? Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was like, what? I was like, I totally.
That's why I wouldn't be surprised if you see Jordan Reed, who I think is getting looks at. I would not be surprised if he goes.
You know what? I'm actually surprised Jordan Reed is still alive. That to me is very impressive.
He's only 35. You have the Sean Taylor jersey behind you. You have all-time favorite players, some moments in Redskins history, or Washington football.
Washington history.
So I have an all-time favorite moment, but I also have one moment that's it's my all-time biggest memory. But man, did it hurt my heart, maybe even more, as much as the name change. My memory was 2012. I'm going to go back to Robert Griffin III's rookie year because that year was the year that if you were a Skins fan, that was the year that you were like, holy crap, we're going to be a good team, LOL.
It's happening.
So that week 17, Dallas versus Washington, RG3 came in, the house was rocking. I had friends there. I couldn't make it to the game. But it was, it was one of the most electrifying, even from the TV, I could see the stadium, how amazingly, the atmosphere was there. And so I was like, you know what? They won that game. I'm like, I'm going to the game next week. I'm going to the Seattle game where we hosted Seattle and Russell Wilson in his rookie year. And we were up 14-0. We were actually kind of running the train on them a little bit. And then the buckle of the knee of RG3. Not only was that just the end of the season, the end of his career, and the end of Mike Shanahan era, basically in DC, in one little moment.
One play. Yeah.
I've never sat in a stadium with so much energy, and then about 3 seconds after you saw RG3 laying on the field, silent for the entire game. We were still up, and the energy was gone, and they came back and beat us. So.
I remember that. Moment. They just kept showing him on the sidelines, constantly. Constantly.
Who came back in for you guys then? Was that Kirk Cousins? Because I know they were drafted the same year.
Yeah, it was Kirk, I think. Either Kirk or Colt McCoy. I can't remember which one it was.
Colt McCoy shouts to the New York Football Giants. Yeah.
Gotta get that jersey.
That was rough, man. You never like to see that because I had at least respect for RG3. I was like, fuck, like I really hate the fact. Same way I look at Wentz now. I'm like, I hate the fact that he's in this division because like I might like him if he was on a different team. And so those are like, I have to hate him because he's there. But like, you've got to respect talent where it's given. And one of my favorite Giants all time actually said that after his first game playing. And he said, I'm very upset with the football gods for putting him in the same division as us. And that was Justin Tuck.
Yep. I remember he called him Bob Griffin, right? And then he took that back after the game.
That was OC.
Oh, it was OC, right? It was OC.
That was OC. OC was always a shit talker.
I remember that game. That's when we knew. I'm like, yo, this guy can make veterans like that kind of shut their mouth and kind of change their tone. I'm like, okay, this is going to be awesome. I think that was part to do with Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan's offense. You know, the way they ran. I mean, Alfred.
Oh, Morris, for sure, yeah.
Look
Alfred Morris, yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
He was what, a sixth-rounder?
Sixth-round pick.
Dallas Cowboy.
I think he's like second all time now, or the second like most rushing yards that season in like Redskins history or something like that.
It's wild. Washington history.
So, it's tough to get that name. Like you're just so used to saying it, you know.
It's just, you know, if we had a different name instead of just
what about? I mean, you everyone says the Skins. Is that hasn't even been mentioned because I guess it's just associated with Redskins.
I feel like it's more associated with like backyard football. You know, it's like we're getting skins or shirts. You know, I just don't think they're gonna go for something like that. I actually realized that maybe for 6 years, anytime I spoke to people, and I'm sure Matt could attest to it, I probably said Skins. I didn't say the full name. I like subconsciously was saying, oh, the Skins are doing this or the Skins are doing that. And it kind of was just like a way to not feel like I was being, you know, insensitive. So.
Yeah, little defense mechanism, a little subconscious.
Yeah. So I guess you can still kind of go with that. But I mean, you know, I think just WFT, man.
What's your outlook? What's your outlook for the Skins this year? Just not in the NFC East and in the total league. I mean, do you see him making any waves, or is it going to be part of the rebuild?
I think so. It depends. I think the name change, the kind of this whole thing it's a little distraction, but I think it could actually kind of be like a catapult for these guys to kind of say, hey, this is a new beginning. It's a new era or a new, quote unquote, Rivera, as I've been seeing Skin fans try to, coin the phrase or something along those lines.
Is that a t-shirt yet?
I'm sure it's somewhere. I'm sure it will be, I'm
going to start taking that on myself. I'm going to be like, it's a new era. It's a fur era.
I'm just so mad I just gave you that material.
Yeah, you realize it's never occurred before. Like, here we go. It's a Ferrera era.
That's going to be on every episode.
I might change my fantasy team name from the Golden Vocals to the Ferrera era.
Oh my god! But I think the team is, if I had to predict something, I think that maybe this new regime will kind of kickstart it a little bit. I think talent wise, we're a little better than people think, and you won't see that until you get on the field. The 4-3 scheme and so forth. Sorry,
I know what Matt's going to say.
I was going to say, your defensive line
terrifies him.
Fucking terrifying. Yeah. What have we been doing this for like 9 weeks now? What do you mean? How do you know that?
and Jack Del Rio coming in, I think further enforces, the aggressiveness. I mean, the first thing he said was, hey, we're going to get to the quarterback, or we're going to get to the ball carrier on the way to the quarterback. That, they want to pressure everyone. We have 4 defensive tackles that could start on other teams. We have 3 defensive ends that could start on other teams. Reuben Foster, no one talks about him, might be back healthy this year. That could be cool. I think the pieces that we lost on offense could be where I'm not sure. I honestly think our division in general will actually come down to who can kind of handle Tank Lawrence the best on the defense side of the ball. You have a lot of young left tackles in our division outside of Tyrone Smith. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it. Yeah. But I think 8-8 could be a really good season for them. Even 6-10 or whatever it is now, that somewhere around there, I'd be perfectly fine if it's just you saw positives,
Yeah, and me and Matt tried to break the Giants season. The first 9 games, we had them at like 7-2.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous. Come back to reality.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen. It could totally happen. It might not, but it could.
I think the opt-out thing is interesting. I know you guys just lost Nate Solder, right?
Yeah. I mean, he obviously has a good reason to sit out. It's not.
He's got 2 good reasons, in all honesty. Him and his son are both, either cancer survivors or battling cancer. So I can't take anything away from him on that.
Now, I know he forfeits his contract to some point. I think he still gets paid in some capacity. But I'm hoping the Giants can kind of pull some of that money and maybe go out and sign, a Clowney for 1 year. Someone on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I'd rather play the young guys and let them, earn their stripes this year, and then, solidify the defense a little more, give the offense a chance.
It's so funny because I kind of want to see us get Jadeveon too, and I should hate him because he destroyed a Michigan running back in a playoff game. And at the time, I was dating a girl who went to South Carolina, so I just got text from her, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, just leave me alone for like a day. Like,
we're done.
That was rough.
Get out of here.
How was that a team name?
Did that lead to the breakup?
No. We were so cool after that for a little bit. I'm not gonna
that was
make
the reason though.
It was involved.
Before we get into our next segment, let's get a word from our sponsor. Why Am I a Nerd podcast network has been brought to you by our sponsor, Me Moms. The best breakfast and lunch down the Jersey Shore with 3 great locations in Wall Township, Middletown, and Brick, New Jersey. Me Moms specializes in unique and fun takes on your traditional lunch and breakfast items. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find more information at www.memoms.com. All right, we got some questions here from our part-time showrunner, Snacks McGuig. So he's supplying us with some good questions. So shout out to Patrick. So Ant, let's get into some questions. Dave, just how you know this works, Ant reads the questions. We just have a discussion to answer them. So there's nothing. There's no real formal format.
Yeah, we just gotta go with it.
Yeah. All right. Number 1. Which rookies are you most excited to see?
I want to see Jerry Jeudy, to be honest with you. And obviously I could go with Giants or Washington football team players, but he's a guy I think that's going to really change that team with the addition of Melvin Gordon, young quarterback. I mean, Alabama receivers just seem to do really well in the NFL recently.
This is true. This is very true. For a team that I never really considered much of a passing team as far as college is concerned. I feel like they're more of a run it down your throat. But, yeah, they're going back to even Julio. Like, they've been – and actually, I didn't put this together. They're both Bama receivers, both JJ initials. I don't know. I'm not making a connection here, but there's something going on.
Do you want to make a bold prediction? Like your MLB start date?
I was only about a month off. No, I'm not going to make a bold prediction just yet. But I am excited to see his future. I mean, I obviously love my favorite player all time is Calvin Johnson, so I'm very partial to wide receivers. Hopefully, my twin. I should be so lucky. Don't even honor me with that.
New fantasy team name, Matt Megatron.
Yeah, there you go. I think for me, I can go the same road. I could say Chase Young, but I actually have the first round receivers as the, which one is going to kind of come out on top, and not even just Judy or Ruggs, but I'm really curious to see Brandon Ayuk for San Francisco. I want to see if Jalen Reagor is going to be, someone who we have to worry about in Philly.
I agree with that too. Jalen Reagor might be a problem.
100%. And he has speed and that's the guy that they kind of needed. If they had that last year, they would have been a much different offense. I had Wentz in fantasy, so I know. But then I think the weird one on my list, I actually had J.K. Dobbins and Patrick, I think it's McQueen or Patrick Queen, right? Who got drafted by the Ravens. I'd love to see how those two kind of perform in that team. I know you have Mark Ingram and a ton of backs in Baltimore, but if J.K. Dobbins ends up taking that role at any point, if Ingram,
I don't think he takes it until later in the year.
I don't either.
It's going to be nasty.
But I believe by end of the year, I guess if I had to go bold prediction, that J.K. Dobbins is going to be the starting running back for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Mark Ingram was done last year, and he just tore it up.
Yep.
Especially on the goal line. But, I mean, they need a guy to, fill from the 20 to the 20, getting open, going out, catching passes. I think J.K. Dobbins could probably do a lot in that range. And that offense, they're running everybody. They're not just running Lamar and Mark. They're putting everybody down. So
now, if I could cut you off there really quick, I'm sorry. I will say it third. I'm excited to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I did just send a little something out as a little gift from fellow, fan of the show here. Each of you just received it on your phone.
Ex-friend of the show.
Our good buddy Timmy Whalen sent over a nice little picture that I'm sure Karen will be happy enough to share. Cowboys fans ready for coronavirus. But I couldn't forget to send that out, so I had to slip it in there. I'm sorry.
Fuck off, Timmy.
Oh man, good times.
Did he know we were doing this right now, or was this earlier?
No, he said that to me earlier, and I was like, I'm going to bring it up during the show.
I was like, wow,
I'm going to slide it in. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to slide it right in, so nobody's really ready for it when we're doing the questions.
Out of the rookie quarterbacks, who do you guys think is going to actually pan out?
You gotta go Joe Burrow, right? I mean, you got weapons there a little bit. You got good receivers. You got some good running backs there. I just think Joe Burrow is the better quarterback overall.
I'm going to give a shout to my buddy Sean Clem here at the Fins Dude, and hopeful participant in the fantasy league at Fantasy Golf Metrics on Twitter. My buddy Steve, both big Dolphins fans. I actually have a bet about who's going to win the AFC East, and I took the Dolphins. So I'm all in on Tua, Tagovailoa, blah, 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 blah. I really think he's going to go off with some of the weapons they have there. I think they're an underrated team. I can see the Dolphins making moves. And if I'm wrong, so help me God. Damn it, Sean. I'll be so upset with you.
Okay, here's a question. Question. Do you think Devontae Parker survives another full season? Because I don't.
I don't think he'll be the number one next season. That's my bold prediction for the Dolphins. I don't think Devontae Parker is the number one receiver.
I think he's talent-wise good.
He's amazing talent-wise, yeah.
The inconsistency and the injuries, I could just see him getting an injury week one and then just the season getting derailed for him.
But I don't think he'll be the main guy. Yep. Yeah.
That I've heard his name in fantasy football. I mean,
there's been so many times.
It seems like he's been in the league 10 years.
Yeah.
And he gets hurt every year. And I think last year he came through a little bit, but
and it was towards the end of the year too. Yeah. But I don't think he'll be even starting the year. I've got a feeling there's going to be a dark horse candidate. I'm not going to reveal who that is, who's going to lead the team as a number one receiver. But I don't think it'll be Devontae Parker.
I think we're on the same wavelength, but we
might be.
Chat off stream strategy for the league.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about our off-league strategy. So Dave and I have always discussed fantasy. We've always gone head-to-head. I'm excited to compete against him again because last time it came to us for the championship. And like I said, I'm pretty sure he wants to settle that score because, true to form, I won. Nope.
He got lucky. All right. You got the better pick in the draft.
No. Let's be honest. The only time I got lucky against you was playing in Madden when fucking.
Don't bring this up now.
That was luck. I forget who it was. Was it Brandon Pettigrew?
Brandon Pettigrew from the Detroit Lions tight end.
I'm like 4 times. I had Megatron on the team.
So apparently, Matt and I played a Madden game once. It was like 2018 Madden. And he was a Lions.
Apparently.
Yeah, right. You know what? I mean, realistically, we'll get to that. But 2012 and 2020 are all the same game, right? But Brandon Pettigrew, he all of a sudden turned into like the Michael Vick of the 2005 one. Like he just, anytime Matt threw the ball, he would score he had like 7 touchdowns against me for like 600 yards, and I couldn't stop him.
It's like it made zero. Like I had Megatron on the team, and I was like, I wanted to target Megatron. I'm like he's in double coverage. Brandon Pettigrew's open. It was like 70-yard touchdown. I was like, how did that just happen?
And that's when I learned I hated Madden. So
we do have a question about Madden coming up in a little bit. But Ann, let's go to the next one.
All right. Since Dallas and Dak didn't come to an agreement, do you see chances of a long-term deal in future, or will he pull a Cousins?
I mean, I think we should go to Ant for what he thinks.
I agree.
I don't know if they're going to pull that long term. To be honest, I feel like if they were, they would have. They would have done something like that.
If he's their guy, they would have.
If he's their guy, he would have got that long term deal. I mean, look, he's got no playoff wins. I don't even know his record right now. I can look it up, but I mean, he's got to. I think he just has to improve. Definitely this season for them to even consider keeping him long term. But that's just my opinion. And I'll check it out.
Is he a product of their offensive line, Jason Garrett and Ezekiel Elliott, and you can replace him, or is he the difference maker on that team? It's tough to say when they have the best offensive line in the league. You have to see him. You have to see him with the Daniel Jones offensive line. I apologize, Dan Jones. No disrespect, Dan.
You know,
Nah,
I'm kind of right.
It's out of your
I'm kind of right
flex.
there. I'm kind of right there with you, though. I think Dak's a real. Listen, I think Dak is a good player. I was there during the Kirk Cousins fiasco, so I know, what the deal is with that. I'm curious how the Patrick Mahomes contract kind of influences this whole situation. Like, I don't think they're going to go out and give him a 10-year deal. I just don't see them investing that long term, even from that standpoint. If he's asking $40 million, I mean, we'll see how the cap goes up, when this whole thing kind of spikes. But like you said, if he hasn't signed now, I mean, and now we're in the franchise tag, and that's not a fun situation to be in for quarterbacks. If you're the fan, if you're the organization, we dealt with it with Kirk, and it was very clear after a year that Kirk was not coming back. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you guys here. I don't know if he's worth the money he's asking for by any means. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's holding you guys back, but I do think you can get similar, a slight step down, but like similar play overall for bargain value, which is why you signed Andy Dalton. You know what I mean? There's not a lot being asked of Dak. I've never really seen him have to win a game. Like, you've got a top flight receiver. You've got one of the top 3 running backs in the league. I'd say bottom 2, obviously.
I'd say top
3.
I'd probably say top.
I'd say
one.
He's
prediction.
between 2 and 3. Thank you very much, sir. He's between 2 and 3.
Wait, are you getting table service?
Yes,
I will say Dallas has, really good receivers. I mean, they have I've had a guess or I've had to, put my money on it. I think that trio now is going to be really good for him.
I'm not happy about that by any means.
No,
not with our
neither am I.
secondary.
Yeah, same here.
Our secondary that we invested so fucking much in, like, Jesus Christ. I know Baker's a thief, but we really got robbed. Like, come on.
I'll just be happy we traded away Quentin Dunbar before all that happened because, listen, karma's karma. All right, that's all I'm going to say on that one.
Hey, you guys want DeAndre Baker? You can have it.
Yeah. I mean, shit, you guys have taken all our other cast-offs from the secondary.
Hey, listen, we took your cast off on the we took your cast off offensive lineman and turned him into like a Pro Bowler last year. So,
Because you moved him inside. That's why we ended up Jerry fucking Reese, the biggest goddamn idiot GM in the history of dumbass GMs. Like, Eric Flowers, they'll draft him 9th overall. Todd Gurley's right there, you dumb fuck.
Tell us how you really feel, Matt. Tell us.
Matt will, as I've learned.
I know.
I will. The only time I was angrier than that was when we took goddamn fucking Eli Apple, top 10 pick.
Where did he play?
He's a goddamn fucking Buckeye. Fuck Ohio State, fuck Ohio State, fuck Ohio State, fuck Ohio State. Is that a 10? Are we at 10 yet?
I think we're at 8.
Fuck Ohio State, fuck Ohio State.
There you
and
go.
Fuck them again. Fuck
And
Ohio State.
And 12.
What was his record that day?
I don't know. His record's eat a
87.
dick.
87 fucks.
No, talking about you, Matt. Not
Oh, wow.
not Eli Apple.
Oh, yeah, it was 87. Yeah, because that was like, yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
All right, it's a Madden question. With EA releasing the 5 99 overall players, who is most likely to join them during the season? Which player has the biggest jump in overall rating throughout the season?
There's one answer.
Saquon Barkley. Obviously.
He's too low rated for me. I mean, I don't really play Madden, but when I saw it, I was like, come on.
Like 91? Kidding me?
He is, but realistically, he has the potential to jump up to that rating during the season.
He's going to be 100. He's going to be the first 100 in the history of Madden rankings. I'm not biased when I say that. He went to Penn State.
I got a left field guy. I looked at the list because I'm an avid Madden guy, and first of all, the ratings are terrible to begin with. The guy.
Before you say that, what are your thoughts on J.J. Watt?
I mean, I think he's, 94, 95 or something like that?
97.
He's 97, yeah.
I mean, I think I'm fine with that. I think he had, the injury last year. He hasn't been.
He hasn't played a full season in a while, yeah.
I think the bigger snuff is snuff, I should say, is Quentin Nelson. I think it being a 94,
He's only a 94?
He's only a 94. Lamar Jackson's only a 94. Those were kind of the two that I saw that could kind of elevate, but I think Quentin Nelson is going to be a much more, because he's already a beast.
Yeah.
I think that he should be a 99.
I had an argument when we were drafting Saquon with a couple of my friends who really believe that we should draft Quentin Nelson. Like, we cannot take a guard at 2. I understand what you're saying. He's amazing. I'm not taking anything away from him. If he was a tackle, different story. But, like, for bang for your buck, second overall, I want someone who's going to score touchdowns. You can call me biased for that. You can call me an idiot for that. But Saquon, to me, was the guy through and through. And, Dave, I think we discussed that multiple times.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, we had probably like 10 conversations about the same exact topic.
JJ Watt is a 98.
He's a 98?
Yeah.
See, I mean, it's high, like, honestly, I think 96, 95 would be perfect for him.
98, you got Zach Martin, JJ Watt, George Kittle, DeAndre Hopkins, Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner makes sense up there, yeah.
If you could tell me you could tell me some of those guys are up there. I think Quentin Nelson should be right up there as well.
Yeah, 100%. Was that your left field? Was that your left field guy?
That was my left field guy. Yeah, that guy. And then my biggest jump, I have a left field guy, I think, too. But I'll let you guys go first on that one, I think.
I mean, ours is Saquon. I could see Deshaun Watson jumping up there, depending on the season he has. But I think that's really dependent on
if his receivers stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you lose DeAndre. Now you're solely thrown to Will Fuller, who can't stay healthy.
Yeah, you got Brandon Cooks, who's same kind of thing.
You bring in David Johnson. He's not. Deshaun Watson doesn't throw to running back, so I really don't know how he's even going to do in that offense.
I went from loving that trade to hating when I was like, they traded for David Johnson. Like, this is a great move, awesome. And it's like, oh, P.S. Also, they gave away DeAndre Hopkins. I was like, why would you do that? Like, why? How is Bill O'Brien still in charge over there?
I'm just you know what? Stunned that it was so for like what it was a first rounder with it, right? Like David Johnson in a first round pick. I mean,
so I'll tell you what. Sorry, go ahead, Dave. I'll let you finish.
Oh, you're good.
I'm going to make this trade right now. I'm not authorized to do this, but I believe the Giants will back me on it. We're going to offer Marcus Golden a bag of tortilla chips and this Orange Crush for JJ Watt right now. We'll also give you a second round pick.
Too high.
I feel we'll give you a fourth round pick. And I feel like Bill O'Brien he's not calling me yet, but I'm sure I'm going to get a call from him pretty soon. That dumbass. Like, who fucking does that? It's the best receiver in the league. Like, what do you think? You don't trade talent. That's a Gettleman ass move. Let's trade the best receiver on the team.
In his prime.
Exactly. Like, what are you thinking? Sorry.
That's what makes the show, is you going on these rants. We love it. You guys have anybody else on that list?
So my biggest jump is, I mean, the second I saw this, I wanted to drive over to EA's headquarters and kind of punch somewhere in the face. Just like all right, who did this rating, and then let me punch you in the face. Okay,
who's in charge of this?
Yeah, like bring him to the front. Let me knock him out a little bit.
Hold him down.
Chris Godwin. How the hell do you have Chris Godwin at an 87 overall? The guy was one of the best receivers in football last year, on top of the guy on his own damn team who was supposed to be a top 10 receiver. I mean, Chris Godwin is a stud. And I'm not saying he should be a 99 because he did it for 1 year. I get that. But an 87?
Mike
It should be at least a 93.
Let me get some of the drugs that the EA, ratings guys are smoking because I want it.
I need to know what that's like. I need to experience this high.
Oh, it's terrible. That was one of the biggest things I saw. And then but you could look down that list and you'll see just a bunch of guys like Landon Collins is at 82. And I thought to myself, what the heck? Like, I get Landon's had a down year.
Wow, that's a good conversation piece. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
I think my theory is that Madden does this thing where they have team ratings, right? They have their consensus ratings for the year, and then they put all the players together and they realize, oh, well, shit, this team is, making this team better than we wanted to. So we have to scale down guy here. And I think that's what you actually see with these damn ratings.
Well, if that's the case, why is Rob Gronkowski at 95 after being out of the league for 2 years at this point?
Yeah, that's
because
that's a stretch.
Because EA's dumb. Yeah. They're fanboys.
Like, let me see this guy in a weight room first. Like, he's sold like my size at this point right now. We used to be like the Incredible Hulk. Like, what's going on here?
I will say this, just because I'm on a podcast and there's a platform and I have to say it, the fact that they have not fixed franchise mode in 12 years or whatever the hell long it's been is just the most infuriating thing ever. Hashtag fix the damn franchise mode. EA, get your shit together or give the rights to someone else. I'm sick of it. Done with it.
Yeah.
I
Fuck
definitely
you.
agree with it.
I was
I'm
a
with you
big
on that.
franchise mode guy. Madden 2000, when they came out with it, I was all about it. It's all I played just to manage the team. I barely even played games. I'd like, I'm gonna do a rebuild, full rebuild, trade everybody, draft picks,
Worst team, get all the picks in, make your franchise.
change location.
Yep. And now all you have to do is add a little bit more dynamic to, like, say, the free agent signing, right? The like, make it more realistic contracts, make it more
Right.
realistic trades. That's all we're asking for. You don't have to do a full repurpose of it. Just kind of tweak things here or there, and you can make it a different experience. But it's EA. So
Yeah. And listen, shout to Cameron James, as this might become an Alpha Beta Gold conversation very quickly. But EA tends to fuck every single video game they get a hold of. Like, if you look at even Anthem was something I thought was going to
Oh
be
my
fucking
God.
sick,
It's so
and EA
disappointing.
got a hold of it and just. So I just don't like them in general. Also, while we're talking about Madden, can I just take any player I want? Like, I'm sick of having to get these fucking cards to try and build my team. I just want to take Calvin Johnson and put him on the Giants. That's the only thing I want to do. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. I shouldn't have to find like a mod or a hack or like, change the color of the jerseys. Like, just let me put Calvin Johnson on the Giants. That's
Well,
it.
I think you bring up a good point though, because EA's gearing towards just doing Ultimate Team stuff. Like, it's huge in FIFA, and now it's taking over every other sports game. Where,
But at least let me buy those guys that I want to play as. Sorry to cut you off.
you can buy them. I mean, people spend thousands of dollars just unlocking packs to get them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta hope with the pack, which is bullshit.
All right,
Like, this isn't Overwatch. Like,
I'll admit something here. During this quarantine, I decided to try out. Like, I never played Ultimate Team. I swear to God, never tried it. Never wanted to. I decided to spend some money on it, a little bit, for like a couple of weeks, just to see what the hype was about. Unless you're spending hundreds of dollars or spending hours in their auction house or whatever, trying to grind, online games, which gets sweaty as hell. It's just a cash grab. That's all it is. It's all it's turned into. They just want money. I mean, they have packs they sell for $100. It's ridiculous. I can't believe people actually would buy that. So it's just really disappointing, but it's not surprising. It's EA,
Yeah, I mean, they're making tons of money on it because that's how you get those guys like Calvin Johnson. Is you have to spend the money to unlock the best packs.
but like, I'm cool with just spending like $5, even $10 just to buy prime Calvin Johnson. Like, I would do that. Just give me the option.
Yep. And then every year they try to do this, like, oh, we're going to change the gameplay. We're going to add this dynamic and this. And it's like, it's the same game, guys. Just a little different tweak here or there, but it's the same bullshit that I've dealt with.
With this new view, you can see left and right at the same time. Like, oh, cool, thanks.
Now you can throw the ball on the run. Like, awesome. That's great. It should have been in there 15 years ago.
And let's get to our featured question of the episode.
All right. Who are your preseason projected playoff teams?
I think it's easy just to go division by division and
like who wins and then wild card.
Yeah, I think NFC East is a good place to start. I know probably not the Giants or the Washington football team are going to be in those spots. Possibly a wild card spot. But as far as division win, I think it's between Dallas or Philly.
Let's go.
I have to.
If it has to be someone, I'll take you guys over Philly. I'll say that right now.
Let's go.
But I'm still in the mix for Giants as a sleeper. I'm going to say Giants for the wild card, but whatever. You guys win the division. Fucks.
I went with Cowboys too. I think, just because the Eagles started already getting some injuries, they already lost Brandon Brooks, and they're losing a couple pieces here or there. I just think that, again, that receiving core and Dak, I think he's going to be, if anything, motivated this year to really turn it up, especially with this whole franchise. So yeah. I just hard for me to see them lose, but I think the Cowboys tend to do something that we all see our teams do, and that's kind of getting their own way sometimes. So.
This could be Dallas's year as far as I think the Eagles have a lot of question marks on their own end. They're going to roll in with Wentz. They drafted Jalen Hurts. Who knows what kind of role he's going to play. they drafted a receiver, but they haven't had the best of luck at drafting any receivers at all, really. I mean, no one seems to stick. So I think you have to take Dallas in the NFC East with the Giants sleeper pick, obviously, Matt. Let's go to the AFC East. Obviously, a lot of change in that division with no Tom Brady, so it's wide open. But I do think the Bills probably are the favorite.
I'm gonna roll with Miami. I'm gonna roll with them. Let's go.
That's you think Miami can take the division?
I think they can. I don't think we should ignore the Patriots.
No,
I think Miami's the only team, if I'm correct, since I think 2008 was the last time the Patriots didn't win the division. It was Miami. I think they've kind of got the juice right now. I think they're all bought in under Flores. I'm going to roll with them.
I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm going to go Buffalo. I agree with Sean on this. I think the acquisition of Stephon Diggs, kind of bringing him over, and you have some, listen.
You think he's going to contribute off the bat?
I do.
Receivers have a tough time with that, I think.
They do, but you have to realize Stephon Diggs wasn't this all-pro who got everything handed to him right away. He was a fifth-rounder who grinded his way. He didn't have Kirk Cousins the whole career that he had, and he was still putting up numbers. He was the guy that kind of really emerged before even adding Thielen. I just think he's a more polished receiver. He's gritty. I think it's a good fit for that offense for a guy who likes to run around and, improv, if you will. And that defense is still really good. So I think Buffalo is the guy. I would have Patriots as a kind of a shoe-in sleeper on the back end of that too.
I think the Patriots with these guys opting out, obviously that's been a big news story this week. If that continues to be a trend, I mean, obviously all these picks could go to shit because who knows who's going to opt out next. But yeah, I think if Josh Allen can improve his accuracy at somewhat a little bit, I think they can take that pretty easily. But But I'll respect Matt's Miami pick.
I don't hate the pick. I don't hate Miami. He's right. They have a lot of new young talent. I mean, they spent $80 million in one offseason on 25.
Imagine if they only spent $80,000.
$80,000 on 25, all pros. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sign me right the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pick them, you might as well go bet them right now because you're gonna win some major money. They take the division.
Actually, I just might. Let's go.
Matt, where do you want to go next, Matt?
Why don't we try the NFC West here, which I'm going to go with the Seahawks personally.
I think that's probably one of the toughest divisions.
Oh, easily.
I mean,
easily.
I know the Jamal Adams thing for Seattle is huge, but I still have a hard time picking against San Fran.
I'm so sorry to cut you off there. I know I've been jumping in. He was such a little bitch for that. I get it. I know you want to make money in case you get hurt, but come on, man. It's your second year. Third year in the league? Come on. Give it a little bit. Give it just a little bit. Absurd. But sorry.
No, I mean, I agree. But does that push Seattle over the top? I mean, you have the quarterback. You get the back-end safety now. I still think the 49ers, if they can, recover their lost receivers, they're still tough.
Yeah, the Niners are definitely going to be an issue. I mean,
the Rams.
They're well
the Rams
coached.
are there too.
Yeah. Oh, the Rams are going to sneak back in. Don't worry about that. The Rams are definitely going to come back. I mean, even the Cardinals are in good position to make a play. It is, like you said, probably the toughest division right now in football. I just kind of got to give it. Seattle's got the pedigree. Russell Wilson's still pretty young. He's still doing the damn thing. I got to give it to them.
Will the no fans thing be a factor for them too? Because they love the 12th man.
Was that confirmed that they're definitely not having fans? I didn't see that.
It's not confirmed for them, but I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. Or in a limited capacity.
Yeah, even if it's limited capacity, you're talking about the crowd noise. I mean, that's going to be significantly reduced if it's only a percentage of the fans for the 12th man. So
yeah,
I think it could, but I'm right there with you guys on Seattle, or at least which I think it was Sean had. No, I'm sorry, Matt had Seattle, right?
Yeah.
I had the Seahawks that have been kind of going back and forth. I'm going to say my bolder prediction is that 3 playoff teams come from that NFC West division, and I have Cardinals as one of them.
Really? Wow. Well, we have the Giants beating the Cardinals at the end of the season, so I'm hoping that sticks. I don't know.
We'll have to do an emergency pod right after to discuss, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do the AFC West. I guess, you can't go wrong with the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, I mean I think that is what it is. You got to roll with them. You have to here. Patrick Mahomes is that dude.
I don't think you're allowed to not go against them, right? Like
right.
It's just they're just too good right now. I do see the Broncos making it as well as a wild card. I think that team, if Drew Lock kind of gets
Drew Lock pans out,
he has options. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. You just bring in all these talent. You got what they got Melvin Gordon too, right?
Yeah.
So
good offensive line,
really good offense, exactly. And Bradley Chubb hasn't really kind of matured to that superstar status yet. I think he's still developing, and it's a scary team. I think they could definitely compete with them a little bit.
If the Chiefs don't go to the Super Bowl, for them, it's considered a failure, I would assume,
I wouldn't necessarily call it a failure just because the fact that the Chiefs won a Super Bowl with the year prior, their quarterback was the MVP. I think the future is so bright for Patrick Mahomes. Even if they miss the Super Bowl this year, they're going to be in it within the next 5 years at least twice. Like, that's a scary team to think about in the future. Like, they're beasts. Even though fuck Tyreek Hill, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I think the talent's just too good. I think they're primed for consistent playoff production. Yep. I have no idea how the hell they've managed to get all these players back. I mean, Chris Jones, they just re-signed. It's like, I feel like they had $3 left on their cap and they still got everyone signed. So if they can manage that and not hinder their future development of who they draft and who they bring in, we could be looking at a team that could, I'm not going to say this just yet, it's a little premature, but could push that New England, dominance that we saw over the last, 20 years now.
Yeah, it seems like they have, besides Mahomes, it seems like they have a good culture where they're just constantly bringing guys in and they just work out. Like that New England fit where you don't know. They could bring in anybody. And that's why they're still a scary team in the AFC East. They could bring in anybody and it could still work out because of the culture and the coaching they have in place.
They had, their corners were the year before were on Washington. You had Bashaud Breeland and Kendall Fuller, and they went in and won a Super Bowl for them there. They had picks in the Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, but we let them go. Sure, we were good enough to not have them. Yeah, got it.
Another, I think, a tough division is going to be the NFC North. I don't know. Obviously,
I just put 20 on the Dolphins to win the division. Yes,
that's it. What's that payout right now? What'd you order?
Oh shit! Hang on, sorry, I just closed it out. Payout's 180.
All right, that's good.
Plus 800. Yeah.
All right. Well, now you have to really push that pick every week, unless you don't want to jinx anything.
I'm probably going to forget this happens. To be 100% honest with you, and then I'll just get a notification to be like, oh, how about that shit?
Oh, you won $20,000. Awesome. Yeah. What the hell is this? I don't know.
Did something at some point.
Who do you guys like in the NFC North? I like the Vikings. I know they lost their offensive coordinator. I don't think and Stephon Diggs. What?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at my existing bets. Apparently, February 2nd, I put $4 on the Giants to win the Super Bowl, and that pays out $268. So let's go Big Blue. Let's fucking go. $4 and $268. Hell yeah.
Oh man, I bet the Chiefs to win last year.
Did you?
And then when I went to make bets the day of, I saw it on there. I lucked out.
That's awesome.
That's fucking dope. That's really cool.
It was nice. Awesome. It was nice. But back to our topic here. The NFC North. Who do you guys like?
I got Packers. I think I'm going to stick with the team that seems to be the dominant team. We don't know what Detroit's going to be yet with this regime, and
no Calvin Johnson.
No Calvin Johnson. They have Kenny Galladay, but is that enough? So I'm not, and I know Matt's take on this. Me and him are not exactly the best Matthew Stafford fans in the world. So I think the Bears. I don't know what the Bears are going to be with Nick Foles, man.
You can't trust him.
We can't trust it. But what if he does play like how he played Italy a little bit.
And what if it's Mitch Trubisky again? What if Trubisky actually steps up? I'm so furious with how they handled David Montgomery last year. I don't think any team is consistent enough to really run away with this division. I think the Vikings took a few too many offseason L's, so to speak. We don't know if we're going to get Dalvin Cook healthy. He's only done that 1 year. Also, I'd like to throw it out there, Aaron Rodgers is pissed the fuck off. So I'm actually going to back this with the Packers. Like, them drafting Julian Love after he was a game away from the title game, and we know how petty this guy can be, was probably the worst thing they could have done.
And
or the best, depending on how you look at it.
A backup running back in the second round.
Yeah. Just get a receiver. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
I'll piggyback in what you said, Matt, with Chicago. I'll say this also. The way they underutilized David Montgomery. What about Tariq Cohen? I mean, that guy, you have an explosive firecracker.
The human joystick, yeah.
And they barely used him the way they should have used him. And
totally
my biggest problem with Nagy was his, or whoever the coach is over, I don't even know which coach is which now, but Chicago's coaching staff, the way they ran that offense, it just made no sense. The year before, they looked great. They looked like a well-oiled machine. This year, or last year rather, it looks like they barely utilize anyone but Allen Robinson the entire season.
Which, good for Allen Robinson. I mean, I will say Penn State products have actually been pretty productive in the NFL recently.
Yeah.
But Allen Robinson has been, for what he was getting, for who he was being thrown to by, and, the way those errant passes were going, he was pretty productive. You really can't take anything away from him.
Even in Jacksonville, man, imagine if he had, a Drew Brees or Patrick Mahomes. This guy would be probably a top 3 receiver in the league. The way he hasn't
had anybody.
I mean, he has no one.
He went to Bortles to Trubisky.
Oh,
brutal.
That's like I would retire if I had that. But you know what? He's putting up Pro Bowl seasons. So
imagine being the Bears and moving up to 3 and be like, we're taking Mitch Trubisky, and Patrick Mahomes is literally just chilling on his couch. Like,
they will never let that down, and we'll never let them let that down, right? So they
don't deserve to.
Not only that, but Deshaun Watson also. You pass on both of them in the same draft to trade up
for
a pick.
Mitch Trubisky, who started 12 games in his entire career.
Yep, probably has more rushing yards than passing yards at this point.
I think
12 to
10. We are running a little long on time, so let's just do some quick fire for the rest of the divisions. AFC South. I'm gonna bold pick. I'm gonna go with the Colts. I don't know if it's that bold, but I like the Colts in that one. Philip Rivers, Quentin Nelson.
I'm gonna roll with the Titans on that. Shockingly enough.
Matt with the Titans pick there.
Don't tell Cameron I said that. Don't tell Cameron I said that.
He already heard it. He heard it.
Is it running in here?
No one heard Cameron say, fuck you.
I heard that. I got Titans too. I think Titans maybe a wild card. Colts, I think between the two teams, one of them is going to come out on top.
Yeah, I can see that.
Who are we missing here? The AFC North? The NFC South, right?
Yep.
The AFC North.
Do we do the NFC South?
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Who do you want to go? Go ahead, Matt. You pick first.
Sorry, NFC South. I'm going to take the Saints. Personally,
Yeah,
I think they got it. I do think the Bucs will get in as a wild card, but I think it's going to take them a little bit to gel.
I kind of flipped it. I'm going to go with the Bucs. I had Michael Thomas and Drew Brees in fantasy. I saw the way the team is. Brees is great, but he is definitely digressing a little bit.
Yeah, we spoke about that. I think last year, where we're like, it's coming to an end.
I think he'll still kind of put up decent numbers, but I don't think they're going to be as explosive, and I don't think they added enough to be as explosive on offense.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints too. We just looked at the Tampa Bay schedule, and it's
tough.
It's tough. Yeah. So that's the only thing. I mean, they do have to play similar teams, but I think like Matt said, it's going to take some time for them to build that chemistry, especially with how things are right now. With not being able to get together as much as they probably want to. And then we got the AFC North.
Yep. I mean, is anyone not picking the Ravens here? I mean, let's be real. I mean, if you're not picking the Ravens, listen, I'm a Washington football fan. Almost said it again. But they are that rival, local team in the area when I went to school at Towson. and I hate Baltimore.
Yeah. No, I think there's going to be some issues for the Steelers. I don't think Ben makes it through the season, unfortunately. And even if he does, I don't think he's going to quite play up to his normal level. The Bengals are new upstart. They've got a lot of things to learn and get together with. I think as good as Burrow is, that's going to take some time. He's not so transcendent. I think that he can overcome that. And I think the Browns have the habit of getting in their own way. So, yeah, you got to give to the Ravens there. John Harbaugh's a great coach, always adapting. So
I like the Ravens as well. I do have the Browns, though, as a wild card. I like what they did in the offensive line. And especially after all the hype last year, I think they're going to rebound a little bit. So
I agree. I have them as my my 6th seed, 7th seed, whatever the heck it is now. I think the Browns sneak in there and make a little noise. Maybe they'll win a playoff game. I'm hoping they do for them. Yeah.
I mean, hey, you never know. I mean, last year they were so hyped up. It just wasn't going to happen for them.
Yeah.
I did laugh a little bit when everyone's like, Super Bowl after Odell. I mean, come on, guys.
That was a rough day. I know we're running over on time. I'm sorry. I'll just tell the story really quick. I'll be quick. So I was in Denver at the time for a bachelor party, and there was an Odell Brewing Company, and I happened to be in there. I'm like, do you guys have a shirt in blue and red? And they're like, yeah. So I bought it. Next day I'm wearing it. I'm going through. I'm on my little scooter, scooting all through fucking Denver, and I can feel a notification on my phone. I pull it out. Odell Beckham traded. Allowed to be. You guys think I cursed out about Ohio State? You think I cursed about Ohio State? No, this is a stream for the ages. There's
first guy to ever ruin a bachelor party.
Yeah.
I hate to rain on your parade, Matt, but you told that story, the drunk episode.
There's a reason I didn't remember it.
Well, drunk episode speaks volumes of why.
The drunk episode was me at my core, yeah. But fair enough.
All right, to close things out here, I got I'm drinking Red Tank Brewery tonight. My buddy John Arcar down in Red Bank. This is the All Together beer. It's 500 breweries got together. They've made the same beer.
Wow.
They're dedicating the proceeds to different charities, and I believe Red Tank is specifically for people in the service industry. So people that lost their jobs due to COVID, they're donating some of the money back.
Awesome move, Red Tank.
For a good cause. So shout out to Red Tank. I got a quick fire question for Dave here. In his Twitter profile, he has bagels, pizza, and sushi. Is that the order that you rank them in?
You know, being a Jersey boy and Jewish Jersey boy, really. I mean, I have to, right? Like bagels, I have one every damn day. Even if I have to cut out carbs, I'm having my bagel at least a half. Pizza, it's kind of hard not to love pizza in an area that has like literally like 80 million Italian restaurants. But yeah, then sushi kind of became that love, later in life. So definitely that order.
All right, Matt, what about you? Are you a bagel first?
I'd go sushi, pizza, bagel. And not pizza bagel, pizza then bagel. Pizza bagel, you got to be in the mood for
I will say, pizza bagels you can kind of throw at the top of that list for me.
Dave, where can everyone find you? You have a podcast coming up. You're putting together.
Yep. So we're starting.
Whatever you want to plug. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. It's so my tag right now on Twitter is at Rise and Fall Pod. It's just the N, not and. It's going to be a podcast straight up about the NFL draft and kind of just a history. We're going to do a lot of insight and kind of rankings to kind of weed out some of the diamonds in the rough and kind of really dig into some of these players that maybe some people don't know about. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of cool contests and a lot of topics to discuss. So if you guys ever want to join, please let me know.
You know who to call.
Yeah, we'll definitely be there for sure. We'll definitely like to have you back on. I mean, this is a pleasure having you. You're like
absolutely
you're full of knowledge, man, and it's nice to chat it up with you. So
appreciate you guys having me.
Appreciate you coming by. Matt, where can everyone find us?
You can find us on Instagram at YWHYMAMI, letter I, a nerd, official. On Facebook and YouTube at Why Am I a Nerd, spelled the same way. On Twitter at 4th and 1 Pod. And please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. As always, 5 stars would be greatly appreciated. You know what? I just realized we have to change that.
We'll read it.
Yeah, I just realized we have to change that. Because 5 and stars reminds me of this guy.
Dallas Cowboys.
It just occurred to me because of his shirt. So we're going to change that in the coming weeks, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, please subscribe. I believe we are trying to arrange some kind of giveaway if you happen to be the 100 subscriber, or I'm sorry, we're going to pick out, once we get 100 subscribers, one of those to give a gift card to. So please hurry up and subscribe to us.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Dave for coming on, and thank everyone for watching and listening. I'm Sean.
And I'm Matt.
We'll catch you next time.
Take it easy, guys.